Hi, it's Ray, ChubbyRay Comics. I don't buy single issues. I buy trade paperbacks. I buy omnibuses. I love collected editions. I love talking about them. And today, I'm going to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day Volume 2. You guys know I loved Volume 1. So did I like Volume 2? Well, you're going to find out. My favorite part of Volume 1 was the Menace storyline. There was a new bad guy named Menace who was causing all kinds of havoc in New York, and Volume 1 ended with having no idea who Menace was. Well, that loose end got tied up immediately in Volume 2. This book starts off strong. Immediately strong, because the first loose end that they tie up is who is Menace? Why is Menace doing what they're doing? That storyline was one of the biggest reasons I loved Volume 1. And to see it happen at the forefront of Volume 2 was awesome. I'm glad they didn't drag it out forever. We got answers, and it felt earned when we found out who Menace was. Of course, this all happened around the time of the mayoral election in New York City, which Peter wanted to be there to find out who was going to be the mayor. But Peter was going adventure hopping with the Fantastic Four. We get this wild, trans-dimensional, off-planet story where Spider-Man is literally away from the Earth. When he finally gets back from his space and dimension-hopping realms, a lot of time has gone by, and we finally have a new mayor. And it's a mayor that Spider-Man is not a fan of. Also in Volume 2, we got a brand new Vulture attacking Peter Parker. That's right, the return of the Vulture, and it's a completely different Vulture than what we've seen in the past. We also got to meet Aunt May's new love interest, and Peter got to meet him too, under the worst circumstances that anyone could meet their guardian's mate. After Peter clears his temporary blindness that was caused by seeing something that he should never have seen, he tries to go to his own apartment, and he can't get into his own apartment because he's got a brand new roommate. Vin Gonzalez's sister has moved in, Michelle. She's actually a pretty good character. Norman Osborn is back stronger than ever, causing grief for Peter Parker. Then we see Spider-Man fighting the Dark Avengers. Pretty cool stuff. Peter and the real Avengers trying to fight the fake Avengers, aka the Dark Avengers. Some really interesting highlights during this section of the book. We finally get a backstory for the character of Mr. Negative. We also get the return of the Black Cat in this omnibus. We see Peter and his roommate Michelle not getting along. However, they do hook up after a big family event. That is also right around the time when Mary Jane Watson comes back into the Spider-Man books. We also get to see the Chameleon in this volume, Brand New Day, and the Chameleon stuff is really interesting. The Chameleon makes some of Peter Parker's supporting cast lives better. That's right, I said it. The Chameleon will make some of Peter Parker's supporting cast's lives better. Some of the highlights of this book is the Black Cat dialogue with Peter is fantastic. Black Cat and Peter have such great chemistry. Peter Parker and Felicia Hardy's relationship in Brand New Day Volume 2 is one of my favorite parts of the book. Another favorite part of the book is when Spider-Man meets the Riley family. That's right, Aunt May's family, the Rileys. And we meet J. Jonah Jameson Sr., who's a lot cooler than J. Jonah Jameson Jr. And we get a story about Ben Reilly, Peter's clone, and the return of Kane as well. And at the end of the book, we get a story starring Jackpot that I really liked. There were some negatives in this book that didn't work for me. Really small negatives, but negatives nonetheless. I wasn't all that big on Anti-Venom. I like Eddie Brock, but I wasn't a big fan of Anti-Venom. We saw the Punisher, but he didn't do much for me. I also wish there would have been a little more Mr. Negative buildup. We did get some backstory, but it would have been nice to see more of Mr. Negative and find out what he's up to. It was nothing deal-breaking, just I wish there was more. Here's the big thing. Volume 1 shocked me. I was shocked I liked Volume 1 so much. So I went into Volume 2, and I was still skeptical. I'm like, all right, the bottom's going to fall out at any time here. But it didn't. This book stayed good the whole way through. Spider-Man Brand New Day Volume 2 is just as good as Volume 1, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. This book reminded me why I've loved Spider-Man so much after all these years. This Spider-Man book focused on the people, consequences, relationships, and messy emotions, not just punching villains. For me, this is a 4 out of 5. Now, what did you guys think? Have you read this book? What'd you think about it? Am I wrong? If you're like me and you avoided Brand New Day for years because you didn't like One New Day, that's a mistake. Trust me, that's how I was. I'm glad I broke that streak of caring too much about it. My recommendation is go out and get this book because it's a great read. Volume 1 and Volume 2, read them back to back and you'll enjoy 2 great omnibuses, and it won't take a lot of time, because you fly through these omnibuses. There you go. That's my review of Spider-Man Brand New Day Volume 2. I'm Chubby Ray. I hope you like my review. I like the fact that you came over and watched it. Hit like. If you did like it, hit like. Let the algorithm know that you guys like my content. Remember, if you become a member, you get to see these videos early. And I always appreciate super thanks. Have a great rest of your day or night whenever you watch this. And you guys, I will talk to you next video. So long, everybody.